It's that time again, people. Another random question has popped into my head, and today we're gonna answer it. You ever wonder just why Ed, and Eddie were so hated by other kids at the cul-de-sac? Which came first, the scams or the hatred? Let's find out.
Oh my.
Jawbreaker, Double D!
Hardly noticeable.
Now, the first option I came up with is the most obvious one because of the scams and schemes and lying. While most of their scams were just straight up lying to the kids, like the thingamajig machine or the bowling pins disguised as cream horns.
Eddie! Ed's flashed us back to the day your scam ruined Jimmy's teeth. It's a bowling pin, Sarah!
Other scams were just genuine, like the freshly knit sweater or the Caribbean rap with some of the soft tunes of 88 Finger Ed. Then there's the bad ending, the scams that cause these kids actual pain. You know, like the Monkey World fiasco or the mystery of the Big Picture Show accident. It's safe to say that the Eds have had more than their fair share of collateral damage in the form of children's blood and tears. This may even link back to long before the series started. Maybe these kids were all friends with the Eggs up until the first scam that resulted in casualties. It's an obvious guess, but it's still worth a mention.
Suckers! They'll be here any second to take your cash! Man, that's old.
Another option I have is an unlikely one, but I'm gonna discuss it anyway, so what we do here. Maybe the other kids were jealous of the Eds. Now, admittedly, off the tongue, this one is a tad absurd, but when you think about just how much these kids hated the Eds' very existence...
Baby sister!
Jeepers, Ed, you're still in one piece. Did we miss the Ed?
It all just makes you question things. But the one thing we know that the Eds have that even the other kids don't is loyalty. No matter how much shit went wrong, or how many things went sideways, or how bad things got, these three never turned on each other. Not even once. Hell, even all have the same fucking name. Meanwhile, all the other kids flock around Kevin and he would turn on them in an instant.
Dear me, sucker. That a boy, Jimmy!
Ooh, cool. Let's see. I dare you to skip your turn.
Darn it.
Another notch on the jealousy chain involves the fact that the kids all have one personality trait. Aside from Jimmy, who has like fucking 3. Kevin likes sports, Rolf has a farm, Naz wants to be mature, and that's just about all they have going for them. Meanwhile, Eddie isn't just the scam guy, he's the big brother, the leader, the angry one, the ladies' man, the disco guy. Ed isn't just the dumb one, he's the muscle, the animal lover, the comic reader, the movie binger, the sponge collector. And little boy Gaptooth isn't just the timid one. He's the brains of the operation, the kind one, the clean freak, the genius inventor, the one who will always lend an ear to listen or a shoulder to lean on.
Put them down, Ed. You leave my ants alone. 5,239 ants, Ed. Pick them up, pick them up.
Slow down, Double D. I'm sorry.
Knowing that the Eds have so much going for them while the other kids don't might have caused them to begin shunning them for being different, you know. That thing that kids love doing. Okay, my final theory comes from the episode called Ed, Pass It On. In this episode, Eddie begins reminiscing about how the kids treated him better when his older brother was around and begins spreading a rumor that he's coming back for a visit.
It's about time. Hey, Plank, Eddie's brother's coming home.
You didn't hear it from me.
The entire cul-de-sac's reaction to this news tells us a lot about how these kids see Eddie's brother. That being an absolute fucking menace. Everyone except Sarah, who we assume either wasn't born yet or not old enough to remember, fell into a panic and started straight kissing Eddie's ass, giving him whatever he wanted and then some.
Eddie's brother?
Hello? I must see the second-born Ed boy.
Even Kevin started handing this man snacks and drinks while he was out maxed and relaxed. That man is living like a king. You gotta admire it. This leads me to believe Eddie's brother used to give the Peach Creek kids the same treatment we saw him give Eddy in the Big Picture Show.
So can we go inside now? Why not? Don't forget to wipe your feet.
This would mean that back in the day, Eddie's brother would terrorize the kids and then make them worship he and Eddie. Both Double D and Ed say they've never met his brother, which means he left sometime before they showed up. In the episode titled Every Which Way But Ed, we see that the very first people Double D met when he was freshly moved into the cul-de-sac were Ed and Eddie. So it's not impossible to assume that the other kids began hating him simply for being in league with the kid that they hated the most.
Good Lord, I'm going to be ill.
Remember something stupid! Remember!
Final verdict. This is a question that I believe only I could think about, but it is weirdly enough a multiple choice question. But the outcome I'm content with is that the two Eds got wrapped up in the revenge of a cruel older brother and refused to leave the third Ed behind, no matter what. King of the Dead signing off.
Oh, guys! Two Eddies make Bro's house!
Not that way, Ed. This way.
You heard my pal, Ed!
What would you do without me, Eddy?
Don't milk it, sockhead.